This is a 1985 735. It's called the E23 model, and we'd like to show you where things are on this car as much as possible. This is the vacuum pump. This is the thing that pulls the vacuum on all of your air conditioning systems. When you start this up, or you turn the key on, you'll hear it run for about 10 or 15 seconds. That pulls a vacuum on the system, which allows all your servos inside to work. Here's another area here. Use the Dexron 3 in this. And there's a little clip right here that you pull off first. And this allows you to pull the screen out. It's actually transmission fluid, Dexron 3 you use in this. Now, if you fill this up, this looks like it needs fluid. What you need to do is pump your pedal with the car off, pump your pedal 20 times. And if the level then is this low, then you fill it up to where you can just see it in the screen. But if you don't pump that pedal up and you fill this all the way up, when you put your brakes on, it's going to spill out all over the place. So then we just put this back on. And again, there's a little clip right here that goes into the slot, snaps. Take your lid, put it on, put this back on, and just snug that up. You don't need to tighten it up too much. Back here is your transmission fluid filler right here, and you need to check that, of course, when the car is warm and running in park or neutral. This is the idle control valve right here. If your engine is idling and it surges or it keeps stalling, it can be that. These two lines go down to your transmission. If you unplug these, it will not run at all. So if they get loose, there are two screws that secure them at the transmission below, and then also these connectors right here connected at the top. If ever you have some dripping in the driveway, these transmission lines right here, there's one here, goes all the way down, and you've got two. You can't see them very well here, but just snug them up. Don't tighten them too much, but sometimes as age gets on them, the hoses kind of reduce, they shrink a little bit, and you get a little bit of a leak. These are actually aftermarket. The correct transmission lines look like that. These things are pretty expensive and they're very difficult to put in, so that's why these are kind of made this way for now. See, one goes down there. Here's your coil here. It's a little rubber boot that fits down over that. I've had these cars for 10 or 15 years, and I remember one time going over a huge puddle, and the car did stall, and it was very hard to get going again, because this, if you really get swamped, if this gets wet down here, you'll have that problem. I mean, that's why this rubber boot should be in place over that. A little bit hard to put on, but that's the way it is. Here's also your windshield washer reservoirs. Here's where you fill up air conditioning right here. You can get one of these cans from Pep Boys or AutoZone or one of those, and that's where you put the can on. What you do is put it in high, start the engine, put the air conditioning on high, and that's when you fill it. Fill it up like that. And if you watch the gauges, if they look like they're in the green, then you're okay. You don't want to put it up in the red too much. Too much pressure in there will make the system run less efficiently. Another thing to check if your engine if you're not able to start it or it's acting funny, this is your airflow meter, and you have electronic connection back here. And just make sure that every now and then you can take some switch spray or some lubricant, take that off, clean it out, and snap it back in. Sometimes just from debris and age, these things will start acting funny, and if you don't know where to start, you can think you have a major problem. Here's your coolant reservoir there. You fill it from there, and a light will come on inside. This is the sensor right here. Will come on inside if you're down low, or it's really not low, but it's just an early warning. This is the little cap that covers a little entryway into resetting your service engine lights, and we'll show you how to do that in a minute. Here's your water pump here, and these are your different sensors for inside, coolant and all that. That's the cruise control unit right there. The little computer for the cruise control is located right under this kick panel right here. It's a little computer that if your cruise stops working, it's usually that. They had trouble with these. They have water that would get in there. This particular one has been changed recently and it's dry, so it should be all right. But if it's stored cars outside a lot, and they've had trouble with that, getting all kind of mold and moisture in there, and that makes that computer go down south. So that's where that is. Air conditioning wise, these are a little bit quirky. Sometimes it'll shut down, and that's what it's done right now. And all it does is all of a sudden you'll see a little green light blinking like right now, and it kicks on. So it has to kind of recycle itself every now and then. That particular setting right there is on high, and that's the maximum volume of air you can get from this. This is here, and this is on absolutely as cold. It's all the way up to cold. You can hear that, how this recirculating fan kicked in. There are doors at the front which allow that to block off exterior air and just cool the air that's already inside the cabin. The doors are located right here. You can hear this vacuum pump going. It'll shut off in a minute after this system is pulled out. The vacuum is pulled on the system. If it doesn't shut off, that means there is a leak somewhere in the system. Normally, now this particular car, pretty much everything's been gone through, but it can be anywhere. These air conditioning systems can be a real complicated thing. Anyway, when you put the recirculating button on inside, there are two doors, one here and one over there, that close, which stops exterior air from coming into the cabin, so that you get a little bit cooler air inside. In other words, the air conditioner is taking cooled air from inside and cooling it, keeping it inside here. So that's it. That's that setting. And then if you do air conditioning and you want to go bi-level, this particular system, it feels like sometimes that the air is not coming in the way it should be. The way this was designed, like say for heating, if you have up and down on, what happens is that the hot air will blow from here and rise, and this circulation air will fall, the cooler air will fall, and it kind of mixes. It's a very unusual system. In other words, on most cars that I've found, when you put up and down, you'll get a measured amount based on this thumb wheel here. This is your temperature, up and down. In this car, the cool air falls and the warm air rises, and you get a mix within the cabin here. So that's sort of the way this works. That's really about it. These vents are closed and open, and of course you can set these. And, when you first start the car, you'll find that there's you'll see that little check light come on, and it also will show up on your board over here. The minute you touch the brake pedal, it goes off. So that's what that is. There's your odometer, of course, all the usual things. This particular thing is a radar detector which was in the car, and I haven't taken it out. I tried it one time. It didn't seem to be very accurate. I think when you're trying to fool the cops, I think you better be pretty accurate. So that's it. We've got Again, radio, we got a CD player. Um, Everything else works here. Hazards. One little idiosyncrasy I found here is that when you have your lights on in here, sometimes this light doesn't want to come on, which means that I'd have to take the radio out, take all this out. What I found is if you just tap this a couple of times, the light comes on, stays on for quite a while. There's just the one little, as old cars get old, they do stuff like that. Otherwise, it can be fixed very simply by once you're in there, by taking the radio out, and dropping this, and just pushing that bulb in. That's all that is. Window buttons have been changed. They're illuminated. One thing they didn't do very well here is illuminate this. I don't know why when they built these cars that there weren't the same type of thing here. We have a light in there, because at night it's hard to see where you are. You just, of course, after a while you can feel it, but someone new to the car might have a little problem.